Hi, guys, and welcome to Reality with Tea. I'm reporting to you from a hotel room, so I didn't get down to the free tea yet. But in my next video, I'm going to make sure I have my tea ready for you guys. But thank you for joining me. Let's get started with the 90-Day Fiance Happily Ever After review. I'm going to have to split it up into couples because there was a lot that went down on the episode that appeared on Sunday. So let's get started. I'm going to start out with Andrei and Libby. Honestly, we're going to keep the word disgusted in our head because that's the way I felt about at least one person in every family on this episode. Okay? So let's get started. We have Andrei and Libby going to pick up her family from the airport. And I did write a lot of notes and I have some direct quotes, so I wrote them down because I didn't want to forget them. So I'm going to be going through because I had a lot of feelings about a lot that was said in this episode, okay? So they go to pick up Jen, the mom, and the stepdad, right? And as soon as she gets off the plane, Jen, the sister, she starts just the same way the father and the brother did. And I'm just like, did TLC ask them to do this, or are they really just assholes, ignorant assholes at that? Because it's ridiculous. It was as soon as they got off of the plane, they're already complaining and just being completely so rude about the country, a whole country, mind you, right? Okay, so Libby first says, I know Jen probably thinks she's in France. And so Jen starts talking about, oh, it's a sad looking, gloomy European. It's really not a European destination, right? So she says, it's so depressing here. This is in the car. And Andrei said, well, Jen, it's November. And then I'm thinking like, okay, but it is the fall. And then we also have places like that in the United States, such as if you were to come up to the Northeast. I mean, if you come at any time in the Northeast, most of the time in the fall, winter, even the spring, you're not going to get much sunlight. You're from Tampa, Florida. Like, again, get out, go somewhere, start to learn the world, right? So they've just been so Andrea acknowledges they've been taking cheap shots since they got off the airplane, but he says, I'm not going to take the bait. I told Libby I was going to be on my best behavior, so that's what I'm going to try to do, right? So, but then he also says, as long as they don't disrespect my family, I'm going to keep quiet. So, and then even in the car, she says, oh, no wonder you wanted to leave. And my thing is, number one, have these people ever been anywhere? Number two, their white superiority complex is like kicking in something serious, and it makes me feel like I don't even know how they got married to people. Like, I just wouldn't want to. I just don't have people like that in my space, and I don't think I would ever want to be around people like that because I'm so not like that. So that kind of person just kind of turns me off, you know? Okay, so when they get to the Airbnb, Andrei's mom brought over a huge spread of food to welcome in Libby's family. So just the same way that she had at the home, she had plates here, here, and here, and of course the food is Moldovan. And so, you know, Andrei tells them as soon as they come in, you know, try this. This is pig fat. Try this. And Jen, I'm not eating that. You know, and then they ask him, you know, oh, sing your song. So they, you know, they ask Andrei and the sister and I guess the mother, you know, sing your national song. And to me, the way she said it was like she was kind of trying to challenge him, and also she was kind. It was kind of like, to me, it just triggered like, dance for me, entertain me. You know, as if like, you guys are beneath me. You're here for my entertainment. Let me see. And it was almost like they were laughing at him. You know, but Libby, like she said, they kind of turned it around. There was really nothing big and eventful that happened. You know, so they tried to make Andrei sing the American national anthem, and you know, they were like laughing and stuff, and because the father and the brother are jerks, and I don't know. I know Andrei is a huge asshole, but at the same time, I'm like, you know, her family just makes him seem like he's a saint at sometimes. So, whatever. So the next morning they wake up and they're talking to Libby's family, and Jen says, you know, I'm just not used to the food. Can I get eggs and bacon? Can it not be raw? And then when I look at the table, I see fruit and croissants. So I'm like, what is so like uneatable and foreign about the fruit and croissants? Like, just grab yourself something and eat. You know what I mean? Like, she's already starting her stuff. And then, you know, the dad is like, well, when you have to sit at a table and ask what everything is, it's just not good. So my thing is, if you've ever been anywhere, have you ever been to Asia? I'm sure you haven't gone to Africa. You know, anywhere where, number one, you don't know the language, the food is very different, it's presented differently. Yeah, you might have to ask. I asked, okay, what is that? Oh, that's chicken. Oh, that's pork. Oh, that's beef. Because you don't know what it is, so it's okay to ask what it is. But the point is that everything isn't going to be American. Everything is going to be catered to you. You're in someone else's country. So this is the time when you go, number one, you should want to try new things, but also realize that you're not in America right now. So guess what? Everything is in a different, foods have different names. It's presented in a different language. It's presented differently. It's cooked differently. So you can ask, but guess what? It's not, everything isn't going to be, labeled chicken, beef, pork, or what have you. Have you ever even been to, the Caribbean or some of the French-speaking islands or Spanish-speaking islands? You might have to ask. You might have to translate. You might have to, research and find out what it is they eat and how they present it before you get there, since you're so picky. Okay. So then the brother's like, oh yeah, Andre was eating the pig fat like it was nothing. Well, duh, he's from there. Okay, that's a delicacy to him. Just like if you go someplace in Asia, it's a delicacy that I think they have the egg, like a raw egg that is buried for a few years and maybe it's taken out a few years later. That's different, but it's a delicacy. Some places, like they said, with Jihoon and them, they were eating insects. And in Mexico, they were eating certain insects. Like, you're in a different place. They do things differently. So then they say, we're just going deeper and deeper down to the rabbit hole, right? The reason they eat it is because it's like cheap and because it's like scraps or something like that? And the father says, you're in a poor country, so this is probably peasant food. At this point, this is when I thought, I'm disgusted with the father. Who are you to call anybody a damn peasant? Honestly, I can call you a peasant because, I don't know how you live. You could be living in a place that's, not as fancy, not as big or whatever as me, but nobody's going around calling you a peasant. Like, who are you to say that somebody else is a peasant? Guess what? You live in Florida where the cost of living is dirt cheap. So maybe you're a peasant to me. Why is it that you feel it's okay for you to look down on other people? And then it was just so rude and inconsiderate. The mother is so nice and welcoming. And for anybody, I don't know that my parent would have been like, oh, they're coming into town. Let me, cook something, home cooked meal, bring over fancy dishes in place and present it to them. And that was something that the mother did because that's just how she is. And she's being nice, she's being generous, she's being welcoming because they're about to merge families. And for you to talk about them like that, number one, they live in the projects, then they eat like peasants, they're eating scraps, they're poor, it's cheap and this and that. I hope that they watch this and they never ever do anything again for this family because I'm disgusted. I'm disgusted by the way they're talking. And if the father is talking like this, he's taught the kids to talk and act like that and to think about people. That's their worldview, to think about people in that way where they are beneath them, they are lower than them. So guess what? If you too good, don't come back. Stay your ass in Tampa, Florida. I've been there. Ain't nothing to write home about. You have nice beaches, but that's about it. So, I just hope that they see this, they see themselves, and they get off their high horses because this was not a good look. So now I went to Jen's Instagram page and she did a live. I think it was yesterday, day before yesterday. And she's like, she's actually thinks she's proud of herself because she's like, oh, please, I had just got off a 15-hour flight. I was tired. I had all these people in my face. I had cameramen in my face. Any one of you guys would have been tired and you probably would not have eaten any pork fat, and don't act like you would, and all this kind of stuff. But my thing is, if I would have seen myself acting like this, I would have got on my live and apologized and said, I'm ignorant to change. I've never been anywhere. This is new to me. And guess what? I'm a picky eater myself. But I also, there's a way that you say and do things when you are presented with something by somebody else. This woman put her hard work and her love into welcoming you all. And for you guys to talk about her like that, I hope Andre sees this also. They don't deserve anybody to be kind to them. And they really disturb me because I don't like people like that. The same way that you're talking about, oh, that's peasant food and such, so you could be talking about black people like that. Oh, that's slave food and all this stuff. And mind you, Jen is married to a black man. So, and again, and let's not forget that doesn't mean you're not racist, but the way that they view the world, I would like to see how they view black people. Okay, so I'm over them. Anyway, let me move forward before I get too deep. Okay, so then they talk about the near fight that happened 2 days ago before Jen arrived between the brother, Chuck and Charlie or whatever, and Andre. And so they go wedding dress shopping because they're going to go pick up a traditional Moldova dress for Libby to wear at the beginning of the wedding. And of course, the sister has something to say. Oh, it looks like a little house on the prairie outfits. And, the funny thing is they sit down and Jen is trying to get some information out of Andrei's sister-in-law because she was present at the party. I mean, at the dinner where they almost fought. And she says, Andrei thinks he can say whatever he wants to people and get away with it. And I'm thinking, that's funny because you think you can say whatever the hell you want to and about people and get away with it. Okay. And then she's trying to get stuff out of the sister. Sister knows no English. So there's a retail worker in the store and she's like, can you translate? And the way that she said it was almost just like you work for me. You know what I mean? And it was, to me, I was like, I'm sorry to impose. I know you're working. Do you mind translating something for me really quickly? But it was almost like this is her job to serve me. Okay. The sister she revealed Andrei seems worse than when I left him. I don't know what Libby sees in him. I don't know how she can live with him. Whatever it was, she has some bad encounters or witnessed some bad behavior by Andrei before he came to the United States. So she said, I didn't see him in 2 years, and it seems like since we see him now, he's gotten worse. And so Libby comes out and hears them talking crap about her. And she says, can we not? I can actually hear you guys, because they start saying, yeah, I don't know, Andrei's a jerk, this whole thing, right? And so then the sister asked Libby, so you left with him? I guess she's saying after the fight, you actually left with Andrei. And she says, well, he was mad. I didn't know what he was capable of doing. I didn't know what to do when I left. And I understand where she's coming from. Like, she's never been in a situation where her husband was almost fighting her father and her brother. My husband's alone. My father has my brother. Production will make sure they get home. Let me make sure he gets home because he's drunk as hell. And she probably, like, sometimes in that situation, you don't know what to do. You're just reacting. You're just doing. You know what I mean? So I don't even know why you're coming at me now. And what she said was, you guys weren't even there. It didn't affect you. Why are you bringing this up now? Why are you going to try to stir the pot again? He's already apologized. Our father and brother accepted, so let's move forward. But they're saying it does affect us because how can he treat our dad this way, then expect our dad to keep doing for you guys? And she says, are you sure you want to go through with this? Do you still want to go through? And my thing is, like, she's already married. Go through with what? They already have a kid. She's already married. Even if they did not do the wedding ceremony, she's still coming home with him because they're still married and she still loves him. Like she said, that's my husband. And she said, well, what if something like this, I think they said, what if something like this happens again or whatever, and if it doesn't work? And Libby said, well, if it doesn't work, I'll just go home. So she'll go home, but then he'll get a flight later and come because that's where he lives and he's her husband and they're still married and she doesn't want to get a divorce. She just wants everybody to get along. So, sometimes I feel bad for Libby because I'm like, number one, you're part of this family. And I guess Libby, she actually likes Moldova. She loves Andrei's family. I think she's more of the open-minded one. But she's also I'm not forgetting that she's in an abusive relationship. Remember, I said this to you before. But it's just a crazy situation. I just really was turned off by her family. Their ignorance, the way that they are speaking about Andrei's family, who's done nothing to them but be welcoming and kind and giving and generous, and just to make sure they're okay. And I'm just very turned off by them. And I hope that at least one of these siblings sees this and says, like, listen, we got to dial it back. Or maybe we need to spend some time with other peoples of the world, because their outlook on the world, to me, is embarrassing and it's pretty sad. So I'm hoping that, little Ellie and all them kids that they have running around, all the little babies that they're breastfeeding, that hopefully they'll get it together. And then, because the next generation that's a generation that I'm worried about, because my kids will be growing up with them. So hopefully they change that mindset. All right, guys. So I'm going to tune in to my other video for the other couples. Thank you for watching. Thank you for joining me in Reality with T. Please leave me some comments about what you think. Like, subscribe, the whole business, and I will see you soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.